Well, hello there, and welcome to this week's episode of Grow Wealthy Grooming. I'm your host, River Lee. I am the founder of the Savvy Groomer, where I teach pet professionals how to find their profit and purpose while enjoying their passion. So I apologize for, I feel like I say this every week. Long story short, it's very dark, very, very dark. I can't believe that it started getting dark here at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And I'm going to have to invest in more lights because I actually have 3 lights in this room and it's still incredibly dark. I love that the place I live has all these amazing vaulted ceilings, but I have to figure out how to get enough light in here because it's only December. I can't believe that. But as always, we're just always figuring stuff out, and it is what it is. I'm going to go ahead really quickly. And I'm going to try very hard to open up in my channel. That way, if you guys are saying hi, please let me know if you can hear me. If you guys are on Facebook, I can't see you live. But if you are on YouTube watching this, then I'll be able to see your comments live. I'm just having, it's all good. And this is actually one of my favorite topics, and I realized I had never talked about it on one of my episodes. So I'm going to go ahead and open up. I'm trying to, everything is so different. Like, so I'm going to go here. Now let's go into today's topic. So today's topic, if I can find it. Oh, there it is. Of course, you guys saw that. Duh. So today's topic is going to be about Groomer Financial Alter Egos. Now, this is something that I have created for personal finance on a leash. And it's one of those things that you may or may not have ever heard me talk about it, depending upon how you know me and you know the Savvy Groomer. I'm still trying to figure out how to find my, here we are. See that? We just gotta bop everything open, view live control room. And that'll open up where I can see you guys. I'm in a different software that does not really allow me to see what I want. It's kind of frustrating. Oh, weird. Yeah, like right now it's letting me change my thumbnail. Oh, I see. It asks if I am allowing kids. Hi, Erin. Good to see you. All right. So we should be rocking and rolling. So when I talk about Groomer Financial Alter Egos, what that basically is who we are. And we everyone has these personas, it's interesting because like when we talk about doodle owners, we know exactly who we're talking about, right? 9 times out of 10, people are stereotypical. And I realize that whether it's me or some of my students, we all kind of fall into 4 archetypes. Now, these are in different stages of our life, and I talk about our seasons. And so what happens is, long story short, is that the Savvy Groomer teaches you about survive, live, thrive. Survive is working really hard, living paycheck to paycheck. You may even have a lot of money, but you can't figure out where the hell it's going. That is survive. Live is you're comfortable. You're earning enough money that all of a sudden you are enjoying life. You get to do fun things. Maybe you have some savings. And then thrive. And a lot of people get stuck in survive. In live. And that's the real scary part, is that it's if you can get stuck in live. But then the next stage is thrive. And long story short, what thrive is you're able to save for retirement. You're able to create your reality. You're no longer have to groom for a living. You can groom if you want to live. And these archetypes are so important because what's going to happen is as you're going through them, you can start noticing negative patterns that you have based upon how you are acting. And I'm hoping this is going to come up really clear. I made a little picture. And so the top 2 are when you are in survive. You have Sally Survive and Samantha Spender. And in Personal Finance on a Leash, we talk about these 2 people. Sally Survive is the groomer, and I've been both Sally Survive and Samantha Spender. Sally Survive is the groomer that every time she gets her paycheck, it's gone in 3 or 4 days. So she is the groomer that is grooming, and just never seems to earn enough. She works really hard and just cannot seem to get ahead. And what happens with Sally Survive is that she works really hard, she gets her money, and she realizes that all that money is going to debt. It's going to pay other things, and it just eats her up because she's like, why am I even trying so hard? Why am I working so hard? I'm burning myself out. I'm working myself to the bone, and I am no closer to getting out of this hellhole that is my life. And I'm getting goosebumps because I've been there. When I lived in my grooming salon with my son, I was like, I work all day, every day. I will do anything. And no matter what I do, I just can't seem to get ahead. And I was like, all right, so I'm just going to be poor the rest of my life. And this is all I can accept. And then what happens generally, if you're in Sally Survive, is all of a sudden you get a crap ton of money, because once you get good at grooming, once you get better at grooming, you start making a lot of money, or at least a lot of money compared to what you did before. I mean, I was a dog trainer and a doggy daycare manager. I didn't make $1,000 a week. And then when I started grooming, especially for my own shop, like I started making $1,000 a week, and it was easy between tips and everything. And then I turned to the other toxic side of Survive. So remember, Sally Survive is someone who makes money, and then they end up like, it has to go immediately to debt or bills. They're always behind. Now, Samantha Spender is the flip side, where you make that money and then you're so burnt out that you're like, I deserve. And this gets really toxic too, because this person on the flip side is sitting there saying, I worked really hard, so I deserve a new car. I deserve, more scissors, whatever it is. We all do that. I deserve. And I do this too. And again, you guys know I'm granola crunchy, but I try very hard to watch what I say, because I think words have power. And so when I say I deserve, I have to go, okay, is that really the phrase I should be using? And I know I'm splitting hairs. I acknowledge that. But I find when I say I've earned, I'm more careful with my money. When I say I deserve, it comes from a place of lack. It comes from a place of I'm trying to fill whatever that hole is with stuff, whether that's food, whatever it is. I feel like someone has taken from me, and I need to justify that whatever I've lost with stuff. And that could be experiences too. I mean, a lot of us will say, I deserve a vacation. Well, what is deserve, right? Have you earned it? Yes, you have earned it. Do you deserve it? Does anyone really deserve anything? I mean, that's a philosophical, mind fuck right there, right? Do I deserve? That's a good question, and that comes down to what's fair and what's unfair. And that is a really negative place. And I know you think I'm overthinking it, but if you listen to a kid and they say, I deserve, you're going to be like, oh, it's a spoiled brat. But if you heard a kid say, no, I earned this, you're going to be like, oh, he worked hard. So even though I know I'm splitting hairs, and I acknowledge that, I want you to think about if you heard a little kid say, I deserve versus I earned. And so I think a lot of times when we do retail therapy, it is that childlike, that inner child crying out to us. And I know it sounds silly, but it's that you're not taking good care of yourself emotionally, physically, all of that. And so what happens is your body and your mind and your soul are all screaming. They're like, we need something. We have sacrificed for you, and we want something in return. And that can get very toxic very quick. And you've got to be so careful of that. So of these two women, I have been both. I have been Sally Survive, where I lived in my grooming salon and I was very poor. I would try to make a pizza last a week. And I mean, when I was pregnant with my son, I lived in my car. I would shower at a gym, a 24-hour gym. It was really embarrassing, it just is what it is. So when I finally started making money, the first thing I did was I was like, I'm going to be comfortable. Like I deserve. And it was that like anger against being poor and working really hard and giving up things I didn't really want to give up. I didn't want to give up. My son was little and I worked 60, 80 hours a week. He was with me at my shop for the first 6 months, but I missed his first word. I missed his first step. And those are precious things I can't get back. And in a very emotionally broken place, and I'm not saying you're emotionally broken, but I was emotionally broken. Then I tried to fill that void with stuff. And that, as now, almost actually basically 10 years later, I can acknowledge that. At the time, I couldn't acknowledge that because I deserved this. Like I worked hard, therefore I deserved. So it came from a toxic place. That's where I bought the giant SUV that I couldn't afford. That's when I bought all the things, like we were spending $1,200 a month on takeout because I deserved to get, I deserved to not have to cook. I didn't like cooking. I'm not even going to pretend I was a good cook. I didn't know how to tell if chicken was done or not till I was 25. I had literally never cooked like a chicken breast till I was 25. I grew up on hot dogs and tater tots, and to put in perspective, my dad believed fish sticks tasted the same frozen as they did cooked. So we ate frozen vegetables. It was a weird childhood. It was a weird childhood, but it didn't really prepare me for adult life, and it certainly didn't prepare me to be a parent. So for me, it was one of those things that when I had money for the first time ever, because again, I don't know how much you guys know about my story, and not that this is not a pity party. This is just so you guys understand where I've come from, and maybe some of you guys are going to identify or understand, and that's why I was these people. So, I moved out when I was 16 because my mother was dating a man who was a drug addict, and she was in complete denial about that. And I feel really bad for her because I can't even imagine what that was like to, just wake up one day and realize that horrific thing happened to you. So I have no ill will against my mother. Like, it's really funny. Someone was like, you have a lot of mother issues. I'm like, actually, no, we have an amazing relationship. But a lot of that is because I acknowledge that she did the best she could. She didn't have the best upbringing. And broken people raise broken people. And the only person that can heal us is us. So I love my mother to death. And she's an amazing, strong woman. And I'm so proud of her and everything she's been able to accomplish in her life. So please don't think I'm ever saying anything bad about my mom. I'm just telling you my story. And I try to be very open and vulnerable because there are a lot of people who would prefer to just gloss over things, and I would rather give you real and raw, even if it's embarrassing to me. But yeah, my mom was dating literally a crackhead. I would come home and he would be drunk or high. He'd be passed out against my front door. I couldn't get in. We would have to go around and come in the side door. We had one bathroom in the house, and sometimes he would fall. I don't know if he was asleep. Let's say he was asleep in the bathroom with the door locked. I would have to go to the neighbors to go to the bathroom, sometimes in the middle of the night. It was horrific. And I grew up in a place where my family was always poor. We would have brownouts, because that's what my mom would tell me. And the truth was she just didn't have the money to pay the electric bill. I did that sometimes. Sometimes I was the person that paid the electric bill. They would come to shut everything off. And I would, basically my son's age, he's going to be 10 soon. It's probably 11, 12, 13, paying $600 electric bills because I wanted to watch TV. So I came from this, not impoverished. I don't want to say we were impoverished. My family just they just had a very unfortunate time. My mom and dad got married very young. They were very, it was not a financially stable household, and they made poor decisions. So I moved out when I was 16. And so I was very poor then. And then I started making myself better. I went to college. I didn't finish college, but I went to college. I went ahead and I worked really, really hard to make a life for myself. And then I got pregnant out of wedlock. So I was like almost there. And then I had to fall down a few pegs. And then the person who is my son's father, and again, he's a better person 10 years later than he was. We were fighting and it was really negative, and he did not want my son. So he had basically kicked me out, and then I had nowhere to go. My mother and my grandparents had asked me to try to work things out with my son's father, because he should have taken me in, and he didn't. And wishing people were different in the past does us no good. But what it does is it can show me patterns. So when I was spending money, and again with our egos, when I was Sally Survive, I dreamed of all the beautiful things I would have. I dreamed of getting out of there, being trapped, being stuck. I didn't want to be that pathetic single mom who was just poor the rest of her life. I didn't want to repeat my mother's life. I did not want that. So instead of going to something positive, I just took all of that anger and resentment and turned into Samantha Spender, where now I had money, but now I was just going to blow it because I wanted to feel better. I wanted to feel important. I wanted to feel what I thought was happy. And I like nice things. I like quality things, but I needed to understand the difference between spending money to fill a void and spending money for pleasure and for fun. So that's where we start and survive. And those are our toxic groomer financial alter egos and survive. And live, there's so many variations of live, and live is somewhere I don't want you guys to be forever. And live is generally you get comfortable and you choose not to stay there by dreaming about the positive people you can be and thrive. And that's our next groomer financial alter egos. So when we're in survive, we're generally those two people. We're either the person spending money to fill that void, or the person that just can't seem to get ahead no matter what they do. They just keep getting kicked down and kicked down and kicked down and kicked down. And every time you get up, you just get kicked in the face, and you get back up and you're like, why am I getting up just to be kicked down? And then when you have money, you're like, I'm going to spend this money. I'm going to be this like boss bitch. But you're not actually. A lot of times you're not, because you're in survive. And then when you get to live, you can still be a Samantha Spender and live. When it really switches the gear is whom you want to become and thrive. When you have more than enough money to never work again, who do you want to be? And it's getting through the live. The live is, I have to go to work every day. But what if you had no debt, a paid for car, a paid for house, 6 months to a year's worth of personal expenses in the bank, 6 months to a year's worth of business bills in the bank? Now what? Now you have to identify who you're going to be when you become wealthy. And that's where the magic happens. And that's where everything changes. So in personal finance unleashed, we talk about, now these are the two I see the most often. And you may not be this person, or you may not want to be this person, but these are the two people I see the most often. I call them Tabitha Teach and Tess Thrive. And I find groomers want to be one of two people when they, I don't want to say grow up, but when we become this best version of ourselves. Tabitha Teach is the groomer who has all the money they ever need. And now they get to teach what they have learned, whether that's grooming, business, maybe it's just you want to teach groomer social media, whatever that thing is, and that's what you dream of, then you want to grow up, you want to glow up to be Tabitha Teach. And we all know people like that. We all know these industry leaders that make us passionate. And here's the thing is that if those industry leaders had enough money, like I'm telling you guys to do, like I teach you to do, then guess what? Imagine all the good they could do. I think about this all the time. Am I in Thrive? No, of course I'm not yet. Why? Because I'm in my 30s. I don't own a paid for house yet. I got to build my empire. I'm okay with that, but am I in Survive? No, I'm in Live. And Live is generally where we stay as long as we choose to, and for me, I'm working on things, and I'm sure you're working on things. But who I want to glow up to be, who I want to level up to be, is I want to teach groomers how to live a life they love and have a business they're proud of. And I can't think of anything that would make me happier. I really don't. I want to be the person that when I was living in that grooming salon, like I make so much free content, guys. If I had had someone like me when I was living in that shop that could have given me good advice and good content and honest content, maybe it wouldn't have taken me 5 years to buy a house. Maybe it would have taken me less time. Maybe I could have worked less. Who knows? I had to learn everything the hard way, and that sucked. That sucked so hardcore. It was pretty terrible. But the other person besides Tabitha Teach is someone I call Test Thrive. And the beautiful thing about Test Thrive is it's just about freedom. Money gives you freedom. Money gives you the ability to do whatever the hell you want. I really loved, I made a little quote picture. I made lots of pictures this week. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, here it is. I thought this was really great, and I'm going to use this later on my social media because I'm that person. Robert Kiyosaki, which I don't know if you guys know who he is. So there's two major thoughts on personal finances. There is Robert Kiyosaki, who did Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which is all about leveraging money. So I don't always love what he has to say. And then there's Dave Ramsey, who I prefer to talk about. But I think one of the best quotes he ever did, and it was so true, is money will never make you happy if you are an unhappy person. And that's part of this crusade, is there's no point in making you wealthy if you're really miserable. If you're really unhappy, there's no point in making more money. If you're going to basically ruin your body, ruin your happiness for money, it's not worth it. It's really not worth it. So we have to acknowledge these negative alter egos that we have, because we do these things. We do. And I don't, I know I am not the only one. And I see it over and over and over again. I'm in these groups where someone makes their first $100,000, and what do? They go out and they buy a BMW, and they have $1,000 a month car payment. Or they, I'm not talking about a small, like blow some money, girl. If you're making six figure, go blow you some money. Go buy you a $2,000 purse, go buy you a nice, $5,000 vacation, but don't buy yourself a, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, $100,000 car. Don't do that. Don't do that. Please don't do that. Please, please, please don't do that. You want to buy you a paid for, $20,000 car in cash. I'm for that. That's fine. But don't go get a $1,000 car payment on a car that is going to depreciate like a rock, and you're going to have to buy a new one in 5 years anyway. I tell everyone, I right now lease a car, and people go, that's insane. I go, no, it's not, because I did do the math. And again, I really hate leases, but I am leasing a my car's perfect. It's a diesel SUV, reasonable size. The only negative about it's a Chevy, but I get 50,000 miles, and I have it for 3.5 years, and I'm going to pay less than $15,000, which is, it's got every goddamn bell and whistle. It's got a heated and cooled seats, heated steering wheel, but it makes financial sense. So there are ways to make financial sense that also will help you on the end. But with Test Thrive, I want you to remember it's about freedom. So what does freedom mean to you? If you didn't have to get up to work, you would run your business totally differently. You'd be a different employee. If you won $10 million, you never had to work again, you would run your business totally differently. Totally differently. Totally differently. It's just the truth. And I tell the story of when I started my cat grooming business. At that time, I was not married, but I had sold my business. I had tenants in my house, so I really didn't need to make money. I was comfortable. I was in a solid live. Obviously when I got the van payment, I had to do that, but I didn't need a lot. So I was, all right, I want $100 minimum per cat. I want them all to be on a 4-week schedule. And it was really easy to do that because I had enough money saved that I was okay. So when I had slow months, I wasn't freaking the fuck out. I was okay. And that's what money does for you. If you are stressed out at work, why? It all comes down to money. Because if you had enough money to walk out that door and shut it down and be like, fuck this shit, you wouldn't take things the way you do. And that's a little sad, but it's super true, guys. I'm just going to check my comments. Hannah May says, I can totally relate. This is me now. And that's it, guys. You're going to see these people in you, or you're going to be like, yes, this is what I want. I picture my good friend Tess Thrive right here. I picture her as another part of who I'm going to be in my future. As you guys know, because I always freaking talk about it, because I believe in manifestation and I believe in the laws of attraction and I believe I have a path and I'm walking it. And I know I keep touching my hair. It's because it's straight and it's smooth and it's like, so silky, so shiny. I have to stop. But it's like so nice. This is not my natural texture either. This is like, I baked it like cookies. It was like 450, like burning. I miss my Brazilian blowouts. It's okay. But anyway, so like Test Thrive. To me, you guys know, I want the house on the beach. I want the boat. I want all the grandbabies to come to my house. I want fires on the beach and all that. And if my son, who's almost 10, wants to, have a young family, which I would hope he would, and I hope he'd make better choices than his mother and his grandmother and then I want to be there for him. I want to travel the world. I want to come home and have a second family and the grandbabies, and part of that journey is having enough money to do what I want. And a lot of times you guys will say things like, oh, it's very greedy. I don't think it's greedy. I think I gave up a lot to just survive, to just eat pizza that was like 7 days old. I don't know if you guys have ever had pizza that's been in a fridge for a week. It's pretty gross. I'd make ketchup sandwiches. I literally just packets of ketchup, and I would buy $1 loaf of crappy bread. Because the vinegar, ketchup's great when you're hungry because you just stick it in you. And the vinegar makes you not hungry anymore. Same thing with brushing your teeth. And I don't want my son to ever know these things. I don't want him to ever sit there and be like, do I want to eat ketchup for a week? Or do I want to pay my rent? I don't want him to ever feel that. And if that makes me a greedy bitch, then I'm okay with that. And I think that we need to stop judging each other because we don't know what the fuck other people have been through. And I'm really sick and tired of people judging other people without understanding the trauma, the pain, the journey they've been on. I get so sick and tired of people telling me how easy it was for me, not knowing my story. And that's why I'm honest, and that's why I'm open, and that's why I'm raw and real. Because I know that there are lots of people who have had it easy, and I'm not one of them. And it is so great when I get to teach somebody about money who's never had to suffer, because they're already ahead of where I was. And I'm okay with that. I don't need them to suffer. I don't want them to suffer. We shouldn't want each other to suffer to then be worthy. We are already worthy. You know, you're already worthy of good things to happen to us. And I want you guys to think about that, because I want you to be happy, guys. Whatever it is, make money to be happy. Make money because you like your job. Not because you can't afford to leave your husband. Not because you are afraid of all the bad things that'll happen to you. So those are our 4 alter egos in our beginning of our journey. We're generally Sally Survive or Samantha Spender. Although there's plenty of us that don't emotionally move past that version of ourselves. You know, I talk about when I bought my house, how I was stuck in those 2 people until I had to make a lot of emotional changes. You know, and I cannot wait to be Tabitha Teach or Tess Thrive. I really can't, you know. And the picture of what the thumbnail, I always forget the name of it, I thought was really perfect, because it's this battle. It's this inside battle we have where we're constantly berating ourselves, yelling at ourselves, telling ourselves all these fucked up things that really, truly, honestly aren't all that true. They're really not. You know, you're not greedy. You're not a bad person. You're not insert whatever bullshit you've told yourself. And if you haven't heard it before, I always say use the Tony Robbins method, which is I tell myself I'm greedy. That's bullshit. Or that's not true. The truth is that I have earned, I have to be careful, I don't want to say I deserve, I have earned the right to spend $600 a month on Starbucks if that's what I want. I have earned being able to lease a car because I make enough. I've earned the right to live somewhere that's $1,800 a month that I don't own. You know? And I've earned the blessing of sending my son to private school, which has been fantastic. Because most days they take him, and I would kill him if I had to homeschool him. You know, shout out to all you homeschooling moms, you know, whether it's now or ever, bless you, because I am not that mother. I wish I was that mother. I wish I was that mother. I am not. I love my kid, but I would kill him. Oh God, then he's like, people are like, oh my God, River wants to kill her kid. What kind of mother would do that? Yeah, I can't wait for the hashtag River's a bad mom. It's all good. It's all good. So if you guys are interested in working with me, here are 3 great ways to do just that. So we are going to be rebranding the Grow Wealthy Grooming business membership to just the Savvy Grooming business membership. Because some people have been very confused about the show versus the membership. So I said, you know what? Let's just make this nice and easy. So if you want to join Savvy Groomer's business membership, that is only $35 a month. You can also purchase any of the monthly workshops that we do for generally $47 to $97 a piece. So it really depends upon what you want to do. If you want to have the library and come live to those, then I would definitely sign up for the membership. If you want to do the one-off, then you can always go ahead and just purchase it as a one-off. I'm not mad either way. I just want you to get the help that you need. Another way that you can work with me is one-on-one business coaching. I do offer financial coaching. However, you know, we're going to talk about that in a minute. But with business coaching, I highly, highly suggest that you go ahead and sign up for a virtual coffee. We're going to spend about 30 minutes getting to know you, getting to know your business, getting to know your goals. Business coaching is either hourly, monthly, or semi-annually. It is currently about $300 for 1 hour. That's not including your free virtual coffee. Monthly for 4 hours is $9.97, and that's billed monthly. If you would like 6 months, we can definitely talk about that on a virtual coffee. I prefer it if you guys don't just jump into 6 months worth of coaching, because I do think that it is not for everyone. I think that you have to actually want change, and you have to want more. Otherwise, you're just wasting your money and you're wasting my time. And honestly, I make enough money that I would rather spend the money on something that makes you happy versus spending the money on coaching when you have actually no interest in figuring out how to grow a work-life balance and how to grow your business in a way that makes you happy. And there are lots of people who just want to be miserable. The last way, and something I highly, highly, highly suggest, is our Personal Finance Unleashed online course. That's going to teach you over 12 weeks how to get your money under control, how to have a different relationship with money. Too many of you guys have enough money, but you're not allocating it in a healthy way. So a lot of times you are the Samantha spender, where you have all this money, but you're not actually making any progress. And if you're Sally Survive, a lot of you guys have commented on the price. It is $600 or $199 for 3 months. It can't get any cheaper, guys. I am going to be doing 4 live boot camps next year. If you purchase Personal Finance Unleashed this year, which is 2020, you will get a year free of my financial mastermind, which is tentatively called Unapologetically Wealthy. That is a $1,200 value. You will get that for free. And that is going to start up in April. That is a huge deal. You're going to literally get double what the class costs to do the mastermind. Now, and the truth is that when we are doing the Personal Finance Unleashed boot camp, it's me being live for at least an hour a week in the group, as well as doing a live budget every month. And starting in December, our next live boot camp is going to be in January. Why? Because it's freaking Christmas, guys. Give me a break. But I know you're like, what, River? You have a life. You have a child. Like, come on. I know. But I would suggest signing up this year because you're going to get that free mastermind. Next year, you're only going to be able to join the mastermind if you have gone through Personal Finance Unleashed. The mastermind is going to teach you deeper about credit repair, about strategic ways on how to get your finances ready and your credit ready to purchase a house, to purchase a grooming van, to purchase property for your business. We're going to talk about all those things and super saving. But I can't teach you that if you don't know how to budget and if you have a really toxic relationship with money. And so that's what the main thing Personal Finance Unleashed teaches you is, as a groomer, how to get back with money, how to create positive associations with money, and doing all of those positive things. That's just the truth. So at $199 for 3 months, guys, you and I both know that is basically your tips for the month. And that's if you work at a shitty place. That is, let's do the math here, ladies, really quick. $199 a month. Okay, $199. Let's say you work 20 days a week. That is a $10 tip every work day. $10 tip that you guys are working on. If you guys are working 5 days a week and you're earning less than $10 in tips, you need to quit your job. Unless you live in Australia, because Australia and places that don't tip like the UK, I understand there. We generally get paid more an hour. So they tend to not be commission based. But that's $10 a tip, guy. I mean, I've never, knock on wood, and I know it's because it's a good product, I've never had someone not make their money back. Haven't had it. And it's $600 and you own it forever. We're going to be doing a facelift on it in the next, I wanted to have it done before the end of the year, but honestly, with everything going on, getting ready for the mastermind, I want to see what else I want to add to it. But when it is updated, anyone who's purchased it will get the new copy. I'm going to get the new thing. I had wanted to video everything live, like me in person. But with COVID, everything has just gotten, it's just been a weird year. And every time I think it's over, like my state's paused, which is crap. It means we're basically closed. And they extended it another week, and we're probably going to have the entire country shut down for 4 to 6 weeks. So getting my thing reshot, it's all slide deck right now, which is basically a PowerPoint. But when I reshoot it, it's going to be me and talking, because you guys like to see my beautiful face. But those are the 3 ways you should consider working with me. And if you want to just keep doing free shit, that's fine too. I'm here for you guys. I'm here to make your lives better. Okay? That's my main concern, is that you guys have a better life. Now, I have lots of great products. I have lots of free content. The other thing I want you guys to consider is joining my free Facebook group, which is Savvy Prep Professionals. I am going to be in there more starting next year. I'm going to be in there more. The main difference between my free content and my paid for content is the free stuff tends to be things I notice and things I want to fix, or they're supporting my paid content. So they're basically like, this is stuff I want you to know. And then if you want a deeper dive, go ahead and purchase my paid for content. For instance, the business membership. I keep wanting to call it Grow with the Grooming. But my business membership, I'm going to now have office hours. So every week, we're going to have at least an hour in the group where if you want to hop on and you want to ask me questions, you can. I mean, you can always ask questions in that group about the stuff that we talk about, and we can discuss it. The same thing going forward in Personal Finance and Unleash. If you have financial questions and you're in that group, which is a members only group, I can help you there. The free group is always going to be things I'm like, oh, I noticed this. Or you're going to get content that is in paid programs, so you're not going to get the full gambit. So like today, you guys got to hear all about these alter egos. And I hope they really help. I think when you think about these 4 people and decide who you are now, who you are at your worst, and who do you want to be at your best, I think that's really going to help everyone. And that's all I want to do is help you guys. So I look forward to seeing you guys on the flip side. I'm running a little late. I don't have my watch either. I don't have my watch. I feel all out of sorts. But it has been an awesome, class. And I hope to see you guys later. Feel free to share. Feel free to subscribe. Feel free to join my my free stuff, or come with the paid stuff. Oh, Erin said, I have cried because I had $2 to get us through 2 days till I went back to work. I've earned a comfortable life. Exactly. And Erin's a single mom. For those of you guys that don't know her, she's amazing. She's a wonderful woman. She really is. She works really, really hard, and she's definitely earned a comfortable life. And, that's all I want for you guys. I want you guys to be happy. I want you guys to be proud of who you are. And I want my son to be proud of me. And I don't need you guys to be proud of me. I already know you are. Oh, my lovelies. I hope you guys have a fantastic night. I'm going to get the hell off of this. And I look forward to talking with you guys next week, or seeing you guys in some of my groups. And if you want to hop on a virtual coffee, it'll be in the description below. All right, guys. Happy grooming.